we have seen some sales documents, right? So in the sales and distribution process, we have seen that we have many documents that are getting created as part of the sales and distribution process flow. So what are those documents and how they get created, we have seen. So for example, if we say that we have a sales order, so essentially we use the sales order to create a delivery document. So we have one sales order, and from that sales order we create a delivery document, and from that delivery document we create a billing document. So this is what we have been seeing since the last 2-3 days. So I showed you how we create sales order. Then by using that sales order, we refer that sales order. We create a delivery document, and then by using that delivery document, we create a billing document. So this is what we have seen. Now, essentially, in the real-time scenarios, you will not be having only one sales order at a time for you to process, or only one delivery document for you to process, or only one billing document for you to process. There will be some thousands of sales orders which gets created every day. There could be some thousands of delivery documents that you are required to create every day, and there could be even more billing documents that are required to be created. So in the sales order scenario, say for example, you might have some 10 sales orders that are getting created for the same ship to party, or which uses the same shipping point, or which uses the same plant, or which uses the same destination. So if you have some 10 sales orders which are being shipped to the same location or the same ship to party, then although all the 10 sales orders got created differently, you can combine all those sales orders and create one single delivery. Or in your sales order, if you have multiple lines and each line is having one plant, that scenario is possible. Then automatically when you try to create your sales order based on the plant, the shipping point would differ, because shipping points are assigned to plant. So if you have 2 or 3 line items in one sales order and each line is having a different shipping point, then obviously you cannot the delivery which you create will not have all the 3 items in that. It will get split individually, because delivery is getting created per shipping point. You cannot combine 2 shipping points in one delivery, so that is not possible. So these kind of combinations and split would happen in the business scenarios. So now these kind of things is called the collective processing. So why do we really need a collective processing is that manually every time we cannot go and keep creating a delivery document from a sales order. So if you have some few sales orders which share the same criteria, then we can combine everything and put into one delivery. Similarly, you have some 5 or 6 delivery documents, and for all those delivery documents you check the sales order. If they have the same payer or the same payment terms, then we can combine all those deliveries into one invoice. So that is also possible. So this is called collective processing. So how we use collective processing is what we are going to discuss today. So now we have a transaction code VA01 which we can use to create sales order. So once we create sales orders, now we can create delivery using VL01N, and once we created the delivery, we can use VF01 to create a billing document. So this is what we have been seeing. But now we will introduce a new concept called work list. So work list ideally means you can pull all the documents that got created for a particular criteria. So for example, we have this transaction we will be using. For example, let us see that today I created this 15428 sales order. Now let me create one more sales order. With this criteria. So now I create one more order. So let us see that 15429 and 15428. So we have these two sales orders which has the same identical data. So if you have any doubt, you can check 15249, sorry, 15428. For example, if you see this, it has the same ship to party E-S62E21. Material is this, plant is 1200. So you double click on this, go to shipping tab, and you see that the shipping point is 1201 determined automatically. Now if we go to the different another sales order 1524429, this also shares the same ship to party, same plant, and same shipping point 1201. So now individually if we want to create two deliveries, then that is very much possible. We can straight away go here. If you click give deliver, then it will not have it is not taking the schedule line. So let us, so it will create the delivery individually. If you put, it will create. But what we wanted is collectively we want to understand, or we will display all the sales orders that satisfy a particular criteria. So for that we have some transactions, like for example VL10A, that is one transaction. So how we go to this transaction, I will show you. So here you can go to logistics. Here you can see in outbound delivery, in sales and logistics, sales and distribution, shipping and transportation. Inside outbound delivery, go to create. If you want to create a single document, we can use this transaction VL01N. But now we are looking at collectively processing. So collective processing of documents due for delivery. We have these many transactions. So let us take the simple one, VL10A. So VL10A, what it will do, here you have this input screen. So this screen is, we call it as an input screen. So we are trying to list down all the orders that uses the shipping point 1201 and which has a delivery creation date of 17th to, let us say in our orders we had the delivery date as some 30, for example. Then we define certain rule here, and then here you have sales orders tab. Here what you can do, you can go and select this and put your two sales orders 15428 and 15429. These are the two sales orders which we created. So then you can copy here. Now we will execute this. We execute this, what happens? it has brought us to this screen which lists these two sales orders. So these are the two sales orders which has the same ship to, same route, and the shipping point is also same because we used this criteria of shipping point to fetch the documents. So even for example, even if you don't give the sales orders here, just for our convenience, we are giving the sales orders here. If we don't give any sales orders, just we can run this report with this shipping point and with this selection date. So for example, if I don't give the sales order and I execute, what happens? It brings in more orders which share the same criteria. So these and all are the documents which uses the same ship to and the same route which are created for same shipping point. Now what we can do is, for example, we can combine these documents, like can combine so if you want to combine these two documents and create one delivery, click on background. Now you can go and check the log. There is the log button. Here it will state how many deliveries got created. So this group, so this is the document which got created. Let us see how this document looks like. See, now you see here, right? The delivery got created with these two lines. And if you want to go and check the document flow, we will see that these two orders got combined and one delivery got created. So this is an example of collective processing and a work list. So basically, work list is something like a list or a report program. So what this does is, based on certain criteria, it will pick up all the orders that satisfy that criteria, and it gives us the flexibility to combine those and create one document. So here you have two options for creating your document. So here itself you can select this and give display document. It will display the document, but I am showing it to you separately. Now you can go back here and you can see that now let us again go to VL10A transaction. Now just if you put 1201 shipping point and put some selection date, and if you execute, it lists down all the orders which got created for that particular shipping point. Now I am here. What you just need to do, you have two options. One is dialog and another is background. Now if I'm trying to combine these two orders together or these two together, let us assume that let us try to combine these two, and if you click on dialog, it will create single delivery in a dialog. If you say background, it will create it in a background. We did not see any selection screen for delivery creation, nothing. We just clicked on background. It will create the delivery in background mode. You will not see any other things. But if you go to dialog, it will create single, it will create. It will only create one delivery. It will not create multiple deliveries. Sorry, it will not combine. It will only create single deliveries if we click on dialog. So this kind of a dialog we did not see when we clicked on the background mode. So So it will keep creating deliveries in the foreground. So generally what business will do, any company which implements SAP, what they will do is, in the daytime when the business is active, they will be making some changes to sales orders, or they will be processing sales orders. So that will not be the right time to create delivery, because if you keep the sales order in the change mode, then the system will not pick up those sales orders for delivery. So ideally they will schedule some kind of a background job, and that job what it will do, it will pick, they will give some selection criteria. Like for example, here you have this selection criteria of shipping point is 1201, and delivery creation date we will give from and to date, and then they will try to save this as a variant. Now for example, today's date is 17/09. So now you wanted to create deliveries for all the orders which has delivery creation date from this date to this date. Then what we do, we save this as a variant. This screen we save it as a variant. Now we will call this variant as VL10A underscore test. So VL10A test, we will have this variant and we will save this. Now what will happen is we can use the same variant. So whenever you call up VL10A, then we can go here and select our variant. So the variant what we created was this. When we select, automatically our input will come here based on that variant. Then we can schedule a in background, we can schedule a job using that particular variant. So whenever you execute or schedule a background job, the job will run based on a program and a variant. Now this VL10A transaction will use a particular program. So what is that program? If you want to check, it will be present here. See, this is the program RVV50 R10C is the program which is used for this transaction. So whenever we have the option of scheduling this program, we can schedule with the variant what we created, and we can run that in the background mode during the off business hours, like in the night or in the evenings. We can run that background job and it will keep on creating the deliveries. So we can schedule that job to run every day, for example at night 10 p.m. So this will automatically run at that time and it will create all the deliveries. So the next day when the user comes, he will see that all the deliveries got created automatically. Any doubts, guys?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Kran?
No, sir.
Okay, good. So now let us see, we call this VL10A transaction, which lists down the orders that are due for delivery. Now because here you see, right, the VL10A is listing down the orders that are due for delivery. So these are the orders that are due for delivery. So we call this as a delivery due list. So we call VL10A delivery due list. Why? Because it lists down the orders that are due for delivery. Now we will look at one more due list, what we call it as the billing due list. Now for example, you created some deliveries by combining some orders. Now for example, we have created some 3 or 4 deliveries. Let us assume for our exercise purpose, we have, let us create some 2-3 orders, 2-3 deliveries. For example, we will create one more for this order. We will do this and we will create one more. Okay, now we created three orders. One you combined two sales orders and we created one delivery, and then we created two more deliveries, which is use are now. So let us try to check if all these deliveries are in place. So this is one delivery. Now we'll copy this. Just for your understanding, I am showing this here. One delivery. Two delivery. And third one created with two sales orders. We combined two sales orders and created. Okay. Are you clear until this point, guys?
Yes.
So we created three deliveries. So once the delivery is created, we need to process them. As I told you, right? We need to do the picking process, packing, and posting the goods issue. So that has to be done here. So even that we can do it collectively, but before that, what we need to understand is we have something called the outbound delivery monitor. So let us billing due list, we will look at a little later. Now before billing due list, we created these three deliveries in the collective mode. Now we have something called outbound delivery monitor. What this outbound delivery monitor is capable of doing. So let us go to our easy access screen. Go to logistics. Now logistics, sales and distribution, shipping and transportation, picking. So we want to create transfer order. Now the next process is creation of transfer order, right? Are you in agreement with me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how we created deliveries using a delivery due list, we will create transfer order. Now we have three deliveries that are due for creation of transfer order. So in bulk or in mass, we can do it in collective processing. So what we can do, we can go to VL06P, which is the outbound delivery monitor transaction. So now we can give 1201 is the shipping point. So picking date, we give this range within which the picking has to happen. So if you know the warehouse, well and good. If you don't know also, no problem. Just for our sake, I am just putting that because I know that the warehouse number is 012 here. So, but here suddenly you see that no transfer order is required for this delivery, not relevant for picking. Why? Okay, let us forget about this delivery. Let us only use relevant for, yes, 2 and 3 we will use. Okay, let us forget. This is not having issues. So we will have these two deliveries which are now due for creation of transfer order. So here we go and put the selection criteria and we execute. See now these two deliveries which are relevant for transfer order creation has appeared. Now you can select this, create TO in background or create TO. TO means transfer order. So we have similarly like how we created the deliveries in background or in foreground. We have the option here to create transfer order in background or in foreground. So if I execute create transfer order in background, then adopt pick quantity. So you need to give what quantity you need to adopt as pick quantity, whether it will be the delivery quantity itself or whether it will be any other quantity. Do not include picking quantity, do not take picking quantity. Likewise, we have different options. So include picking quantities in delivery. I'm selecting this option and pressing enter. Then the system will automatically create transfer order. So here it says WMTO. WM means warehouse management. TO means transfer order. 2 deliveries successful, 0 with error, 0 not relevant. So the system has now created 2 transfer orders for these 2 deliveries. Now if you go into this delivery in the document flow, let us go here and check the document flow. Now we will see that the transfer order is now created and it is completed. So earlier 2 days back we saw that we were creating it manually, but now you see we are using the outbound delivery monitor and we combine these deliveries and it will create the transfer order. Now here also it has created the transfer order and it is completed. Now after transfer order creation and confirmation of the transfer order, we did the packing. So packing can happen individually. So for example, here you can go and check. We have another transaction for packing. So we don't do this collectively. 06G, we will check. 064. So packing, we will do it individually. For example, we go to this delivery. Go here, we select this. Packing is actually an optional thing, so it all depends how they want to implement the packing process. Now we will try to complete the packing for this manually before we post the goods issue. Not getting 1 minute. So it got packed. Let us save this. Now we'll go to another delivery to that also we will pack. So I will save this. Now packing we are done. Now we can go and check if these 2 deliveries are now So first creation of transfer order, then packing, then after we do the packing, it means that these two deliveries are now relevant for posting the goods issue. So we can post the goods issue also collectively. Now we can go here. You can go to either this option of VL06G or we can go to VL06O also. So if you go to VL06G, you will have again the option of selecting based on the shipping point and the date within which the goods issue has to be posted. If you select this will list these two orders. Our order which we created, it was not relevant for transfer order. So but it is now come for goods issue. So these two we will select and we will try to post goods issue collectively. So actual goods movement date is today's date. So we press enter. Okay, there is some problem. So let us check what the issue is. Two incorrect goods movements. Let's check the log. Why? So we see that number range interval 49 does not exist if BN1. Okay. Connect. Number range 49. Okay, number range is not there for 2021. So we will select this, save this number range. Okay. Now let us again attempt to create collective processing of posting the goods issue. Now we will select these to post goods issue. So 2 successful and 0 incorrect movements. So now these two deliveries, goods issue has been posted successfully. So you can go to the delivery and see if you have any questions. So you can go here, check for the document flow. You see that the goods issue document, material document got generated. And similarly, for this also, you can see goods issue got completed. So now we are in this step of goods issue. We used transaction VL06G. Here we used VL06P. Packing we did it manually. So now we have posted the goods issue. Are you guys clear until this stage?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now we are just trying to understand how do we do these things collectively, because individually we cannot go into each and every document and press the goods issue. That will be a very tedious task, right? Because there will be some thousands of delivery documents that could get created every day. So that is the very simple reason that we have all these process which we are required to follow, like this outbound delivery monitor or this creation of delivery documents using delivery due list, etc. So now after the goods issue has been posted, it means that these two deliveries are now relevant for billing. So now we can create the billing for these two. Now here we can go, we have a transaction VF04. Individually, if you want to create billing document, we can go to VF01 and you can individually create. But when you want to create in mass, like you want to create some thousands of billing documents, then you can go to this transaction VF04. So how do we go to this transaction? You can go to the easy access screen, to logistics, sales and distribution, billing document. Here you have VF04 process billing due list. You select this. Now, what is the date from which you want to do the billing? So you want to do it from today until end of this month. Then what sales org, distribution channel division you have, what kind of billing document you want to do. It is a delivery related billing because you wanted to create billing documents by referring to deliveries. So you can select this option. So if you have the SD document, like the delivery document, you can update it here. Otherwise, you can just select display bill list. So these are the two documents which are now relevant for billing. You can see here, right? This is the delivery documents which we completed the PGA. Now this billing due list essentially tells us that these are the two documents that are relevant for billing now. So either we can collectively combine these two and create one invoice, provided the payer is the same. The criteria for collective billing is first, billing due date should be the same, payer should be same, and terms of payment is on last destination country, because each country has its own legal regulations. So destination country should be the same. So if your delivery documents meet all these criteria, then those two documents or three documents or even 1,000 documents, you can combine 1,000 delivery documents also into one billing document, provided you have this criteria met. If this criteria is met, then these documents can be combined. So in this billing due list transaction, if you see here, the system gives us the option of individual billing document, collective billing document online. So either here you can see the selection, you can select both, and if you give individual billing document, then individual documents would get created. Against this delivery, one invoice will get created. Against this delivery, one invoice will get created. But I wanted to show you how to combine these two and create one billing. So you select this, go to collective billing. So if you click on collective billing, these two delivery documents would get combined and it will be creating one single billing document. Now you saw that the status is now changed to document successfully processed, and here also the status has changed to selection indicator has changed to processed. Now, if you want to check what is the document that got created, what we can do, select on this log. Here, this is the group number. You can select documents. So you can see that there are two billing documents got generated, although it did not create or it did not combine both. We need to see why it did not combine. So let us go to this document, display this document. Now we see here, this is one billing document and this is another billing document. Okay, so now let us look at why there could be some reason why this was not combined into one invoice. So let us try to understand that. So okay. So are you clear until this part? Like how do we create these documents in mass, in group? Are you clear until this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will tell you why this both did not get combined into one document. So we'll check that. But you are clear until how this is happening, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the theoretical part, go through this theoretical part, like whatever you can see here, what is the due list, what is a work list. We call this due list as the work list. Online processing, what is background processing. So here you see how you combine these based on the selection criteria. We can give all this, how this is getting filtered based on the selection criteria. So what are the criteria for the orders to be combined to create single delivery? So these are the criteria that needs to be common if orders needs to be combined into one single delivery, like shipping point has to be same, the delivery due date has to be same, ship to party route and the incoterms has to be same. And there could be cases where there are three specific scenarios. One is a complete delivery scenario, another is a partial delivery scenario, and another is a order combination scenario. So complete delivery scenario, one order, you create one delivery for the entire order. That is one scenario. Partial delivery, you can have one order with some quantity of 1000. You can create any number of deliveries for that 1000 quantity. So in even we set up the customer material info record, you saw that we had a field for partial deliveries. So we can restrict the number of partial deliveries that we can create for one sales document. So for example, if you have one sales order with some 1000 quantity, you can have the possibility of creating 10 deliveries with 100 quantities, or you can create one delivery with 1000 quantity, or you can create two deliveries with 500 quantity each. So these kind of possibilities are there. So those are called partial deliveries. and then you have some 2-3 orders, like how we saw just a few minutes back. We had 2 orders, we combined all these two and we created one single delivery. We had 2 orders and we combined both and created one delivery. So that is order combination. So these are the 3 different scenarios as far as the collective processing goes. So then we have collective processing for picking. The transfer orders we created collectively based on the same shipping point, same warehouse. If the warehouse was different in the deliveries, then we will not be able to combine them to create transfer orders. We will need to do it individually. We have to go and do it. So our transfer order, whenever we want to combine and create, then the warehouse number has to be same and the shipping point also has to be same. So what concept we use here is we call it as a picking list. So we generally create a picking list which will have the details of the deliveries that needs to be picked. For example, now I will show you how the picking list will look like. Before we did the picking or the transfer order, whatever we got, that is called the picking list. See, for example, here uh, for the shipping point, let us see. So there are no deliveries. The shipping point, no deliveries selected. We'll check for some other shipping point. So let us create some. Now I have created 3 orders. So let us look at how they are. VL10A. So these are the 3 orders. So individually we will create 3 deliveries. Now we created 3 deliveries. So now let us look at how the VL06P or the outbound delivery for picking looks like. So 1201 is the shipping point, and let us try to look at. Now we see these 3 are the deliveries that are now due for picking or due for transfer order creation. So this is the pick list. We call this as the pick list. So either we give this pick list to the warehouse operator he will go take this pick list and he will individually go and do the physical movement, like he will pick the material from the warehouse and he will collectively process these three based on the picking list. So this is what we call it as the pick list. Now here you see this is the picking list and the transfer order gets created, and then from the transfer order you can print the picking list for use. So see, now we have created the transfer orders. So now we can have this option. Now for example, we can select all these three and we can create a transfer order, and from that transfer order we can send a printout. So that will be used by the warehouse operator. So now we are selecting all these three deliveries which are due for picking, and now let us create TO in background, sorry, in foreground. So one we created, another create another, that we will create. Now we got three transfer orders created. Now these three transfer orders will be sent to the external warehouse management system, and they can take a print of these three transfer orders and they can use that as a pick list, and they can go and do the physical picking from those points. So now each of them, if you see these transfer orders, then there will be a source destination, source storage location and a destination storage location. So that is the information which is critical for the warehouse operator. So he should go to that source storage location to locate the material. He should move that material from the source to the destination. So that is what he needs to do. So this is what we call it as a pick list. So once the pick list is generated, then after the picking is confirmed, then we generate or we perform the goods issue in mass. Like we go to VL06G and there we will select all the deliveries that are due for goods issue, and then we will post the goods issue collectively, and then once it is done, then we can try to generate the billing document collectively or individually using the billing due list. So billing due list, we can use transaction VF04 to generate the billing documents collectively or individually. So that is what we have seen. Now you can go here. So collective processing goods issue, that's what I told you. Then once the goods issue is done, billing documents collective processing, we use VF04 and we perform the collective processing of the billing. So here are most common options. Invoice split. So there are three, like how order combination, partial delivery, or individual delivery. Likewise, we have different options. Invoice split, separate billing document for each outbound delivery, collective invoice. The following shows the most common options. The collective processing. Here also you see the same options. Invoice split, one order, one delivery, but individually it gets split into two invoice documents. So one order, two deliveries, each delivery has own billing document. Collective invoice, one order, first order has two deliveries, second order has one delivery. All these three collectively put into one billing document. So that is also possible. So this is the idea behind the using of the work list or the delivery due list and how we perform the collective processing. So this is usually very much helpful in cases where there could be multiple documents that are getting generated, and there could be based on the volume of the sales orders, deliveries, or the billing documents that needs to be created, we can use these options to create documents in mass. So when the volume is less, they will do it individually, but when it is more, they can use these options to create the documents in the background or in the foreground. So any specific queries or doubts on this concept of collective processing from anyone?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, good. So you can do the exercises. You can check the questions that are placed at the back of the unit, and then you can let me know if you have any doubts, and we can discuss it later or in our class next session. So are we good to move further?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So next concept what I wanted to discuss today is about complaint processing. So we have completed this unit 5. So this is unit 5 all about. So next let us go to unit 9. So I am randomly going to each and every unit. So let's go to unit number 9. Okay. Give me 2 minutes, a short break. I will have some water and I'll be back.
विवेक अरे
विवेक नाही.
हा तेच ते तू काल मध्ये चमचेगिरी करतो रे लांब्या विवेक झोपला का काय सौरभ
काय रे?
किती समजलं आजचं
समजलं थोडंफार. त्यांना रिपीट करा परत एकदा.
एवढं रिपीट करायला जीव जाईल का? किती ते आले वाटतं सर नाही आले.
एका वीक मध्ये एवढं बुक संपलंय.
अवघड आहे भाऊ.
अरे ते बुक वर फक्त 5 दिवस दिलेले.
5 दिवसात कम्प्लीट होतं असं.
हा. कोर्स वर्जन 15, कोर्स ड्युरेशन 5 days.
बरोबर आहे 4 पुस्तक कम्प्लीट करायचे त्याच्यामुळं
4 वीक मध्ये
हा मग बरोबर आहे मग त्यांचं
30 दिवसात
स्पीड.
कम्प्लीट करायचं. उद्या परवा ऑफ आहे.
अरे त्यांचा हात बसून गेलाय रे त्याच्यामुळे काय वाटत नाही त्यांना. ते आपल्याला नवीन
उद्या
आहे त्यामुळे
offline.
थोडं विवेक भाई कुठं गेले रे खरं
केला काय?
काय माहित.
अरे म्हणजे गतगलं काय
जावं लागेल 10 दिवस आता.
Okay, guys. So let us continue our discussion with the complaint processing concept. So what is complaint processing and how it is handled in SAP is what we are going to see now. So it is not always that you will have a smooth sailing in your business. So complaints would be raised by customers if they don't find the product satisfactory, and they may also tend to return the product sometimes. And sometimes there could be cases where you might have sent some wrong invoices to them, which you might want to correct it. So once you correct, then only the customer will make the payment. So all these kind of scenarios are bound to happen in any business process. So now how this is handled in SAP is what we are going to look at. So now from a sales order perspective, how do we handle this complaint processing, or where the complaint processing exactly starts? So now we have this, for example, we created some invoices today. So we have created one invoice, for example. Let us look at this invoice, what we got created. So where it all starts, what is the starting point for the complaint? Good. So now let us go and check the any one latest billing document which we created. So let us assume that we have this billing document. So here you have supplied some item, flat screen you have supplied some 77 pieces. Now let us say that customer is not happy with this particular material. Out of the 77 pieces, they say that some 7 pieces are defective, and they wanted to have a credit for that. So you know what is a credit and debit, right? So whenever the customer is having some complaint, then we need to credit them the money or the value of the goods which are defective. On the other hand, if you have sent some excess quantity to them and which you have not billed, so they ordered only some 100 quantity, but you shipped to them 150 quantity and you wrongly invoiced only for 100, then you need to debit them for the 50 quantity. So that is the concept of credit and debit. So how it all starts, that is what we are going to see now. Now, the first process is, now this is the original invoice that was sent as part of the initial sales flow. So if you go to the document flow, you can see that you created one order, created one delivery, we sent this invoice, and the accounting document got generated. Now the issue is the customer is not happy with 7 pieces and they wanted to have a credit for that 7 pieces. So now this is the original invoice. So now we are trying to create a credit memo request. So credit memo request is another sales document. So credit memo, now complaint processing, credit memo. Request is one kind of a sales document. Now we'll have another debit memo request is another kind of a sales document. Then we'll have invoice correction request, the kind of sales document, and we will have return sales order. So these are some of the documents that we will be discussing in the complaint processing. Okay, so now let us first discuss about the credit memo request. How do we create a credit memo request from a billing document? So we go to VA01. What is the order type for credit memo request? We use CR is the order type. Create with reference. So it automatically it will ask you for it, the tab has control has moved to the billing document. So we use this billing document and do the item selection. See, there is open quantity 77. 77 quantity was billed. So you copy this, and here you just wanted to have a credit for spent pieces. So you just change it to 7, and then you give some kind of a reference test credit memo process. Then you check if it is complete. Order reason. So what is order reason? Why this order is getting created? Because it is a complaint, so we should know why this order got created. So just supply some order reason, credit memo procedure or something like free of charge, whatever is the reason, complaint or something. So poor quality, let us say poor quality, and then we save this. So now the document complete, and we will save this. Now we created this credit memo. So let us put this number here. Credit memo request we created. Now, if it is a standard sales order, what would be the next process? Can someone tell?
Delivery documents.
Okay, so if it is a standard sales process, once you create the order, we need to create the delivery. But in this case, this is a credit memo request that you have created. You are just trying to give some credit to the customer for the poor quality of the 7 pieces. So do you think that we need a delivery document here?
No, sir.
Okay. Can you justify why you say that you don't need a delivery document?
Because we have already delivered this item to them.
Okay. Now you are only trying to give a credit. So there is no physical movement of goods. So that is the reason why you don't need a delivery document. So whenever there is a physical movement of goods, then only we create a delivery document. So here we are just trying to satisfy their complaint by giving some amount as credit. So that is the reason you don't need to create a delivery document. So this is the order that got created, and directly from this order we can create a billing document. So now you go here to the credit memo request. Here you see that there is something called a billing block. So what is this billing block? And now if you want to create this credit memo against credit memo request. So the billing document that gets created against the credit memo request is called a credit memo. So this is the billing document, name of the billing document, credit memo. Now this is a order related billing. Why? Because you don't have a delivery, so this billing document just gets created based on the order. Now let us try to create billing document for this credit memo request. Let us go to BF01, put this order number and create. So no billing documents were generated. See log. Let us go to the log and see why billing document did not get generated. The document is blocked for billing. Can you see this clearly, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the system does not allow you to build this credit memo request because the credit memo request is blocked for billing. So where do you see the block? Billing block, check credit memo. So why is it blocked actually? So for example, you have created this invoice for 77 pieces and the customer says that they are not happy with 7 pieces and they wanted to have a credit. You are just an employee who are handling all these transactions, so you agreed and you just said that okay boss, I will pay you 7 the value of 7 pieces, I will credit back to you, you have told, and you have agreed with the customer and you have created the credit memo request. Now there will be someone higher than you in your organization who needs to review this and they need to approve this, because just like that you cannot give credit for 7 pieces. Who is authorizing you to do this? Because this is involves some value. So we need to have some kind of an approval process to create the credit memo, because once the credit memo gets created you cannot reverse it. So this is a very critical process, and for this purpose only they have placed a billing block here, so that nobody can create the billing document or the credit memo until someone approves this. So now let us consider that this approval is handled by some kind of a workflow where this information will be sent as an email to your next immediate boss or the manager who is approving these credit memos. So now what he will do? He will go to the change mode of the sales document or the credit memo request, change there. Now he will go to the change mode and he will select this and he will make it blank and he will save it. So once he does this, now what happens here? Now the billing block is removed. Then you can go and now and create the credit memo. See, now the system will allow you to create the credit memo. See, now you can create the credit memo. You see the document type is G2. The standard invoice was F2. This we call it as G2. So now this document has been saved. So now you created this here, the credit memo that you got generated. This is called order related billing. So when we went into VF04, I don't know how many of you have seen, we had there many options at the bottom. What kind of document you need to create. So here you have order related, delivery related. Since we created an invoice which was based on delivery, we selected this. If you want to create order related, you need to select this as well. So this is how the system generates credit memo from a credit memo request. So basically sales document will be created with a billing block. This is the important feature of this credit memo request or debit memo request as well. So now we got this billing document generated. You can go and check the document flow, how this looks like. First you add the standard order, when you send the delivery, then you raise the invoice. Referring to that, you created credit memo request, credit memo, then the accounting document got generated. So you can go and look at the accounting document. Here you can see the how the amount has been credited to the customer. So any doubts on this credit memo request process from anyone?
No, sir.
Okay. Vikrant, Omkar, Saurabh, Kuldeep.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, debit memo process is also similar like this process only. So now we can also use the same way like how we created credit memo. We can just go and give DR. DR is the debit memo request document type. credit memo request CR is the sales document type. Debit memo request DR. So you can create with reference. Here you can give the same billing document and go and copy. Credit memo already exists. We are just trying to create a debit. So we'll give debit for, we will say we will have a debit for 7 pieces. Here again you see that the billing block has come here automatically.
Sir, hello.
Yeah.
Sir, can we change the billing block drop down menu from for blank? No.
Now also we
Okay.
can. It's up to you. Whenever you want to change, edit. What is the incompleteness? Order reason. Give some order reason. So sales call or something. Then save it. Debit memo gets generated. Over here. Now we will create debit memo. This is also order related billing to debit memo is L2. And save this. It will get created. You can go to display, document flow. You can check now debit memo how it got created.
Sir,
Yeah.
why is the account? No, sir, go to the document flow again. Sir, why the status of the last document, accounting document, is not clear yet?
Because the payment is not recorded, right?
Sir, we have to record the payment.
Yeah, once the payment is incoming payment or the outgoing payment is recorded against this accounting document, then it will become as cleared.
Okay.
This is actually something that the finance team will be handling it. You don't need to worry why this is not cleared. Only our responsibility is only until the accounting document generation. So accounting document got generated successfully, then it is a part of the finance team to record the incoming payments. Okay. So whatever transactions, if you see, whatever starts with V, okay, VA01, VL02, or whatever it can be, V/03, V/01, whatever transaction which starts with V is belonging to sales and distribution. Whatever starts with M, like MM01, or when you create a purchase order, we use MV, ME21N, all these which starts with M belongs to material management. And whatever transaction starts with F, it belongs to finance. So recording an incoming payment will be, the transaction will be FB-28 or FB-70 something. So that is the responsibility of the finance guys. So we don't need to worry much, but for a knowledge sake, we just need to know how do we record it. That's all. But it is the out and out, it is the responsibility of the finance team to record the incoming payment. So once they do that recording, then the accounting document status will change to cleared. So now we created this debit memo, and that is how it looks like. So The document type is L2. Here the document type is G2. Okay. So guys, you are clear about this credit memo request, debit memo request process, how we create. So this, you cannot create a standalone credit memo request or debit memo request. You always need to refer to the previous invoice, and then only you need to create the credit memo request or debit memo request. So that is the standard process. So just like that, we cannot create a credit memo request or debit memo request, because the system should, or the person who is viewing that should understand for what you created this credit memo request. So we need to have a reference. So against a billing document, only we need to create this credit memo or debit memo requests. Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes,
Fine. Good. So you can do this exercise for unit 9. So you can try to create the original flow. You need to first complete sales order, delivery, invoice. So once you complete the original flow, then referring to that invoice, you can create your credit memo request or debit memo request. So you need to first create a original complete flow, order, delivery, invoice. So without that, you cannot do this. Okay, that you should understand. Now, can we move further?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now let us assume that you created an invoice, but you have made some wrong quantity, or you have invoiced for some wrong quantity. This is another option which the system is providing. You can correct the wrong invoices by raising a credit or a debit memo request. That is fine. But yet system gives us another option which is called as the invoice correction request. So what is a invoice correction request? So now, for example, you have created original invoice. So original billing document you created. For example, let us assume that this is the original invoice which you created. Now, in this invoice, for example, the quantity of billed as 77 piece, and the price, for example, you have maintained the price as for 449.9 euro is the price that you maintain. So multiplying that into 77, we got this is the value of the invoice. Now, first option to correct any invoice is that you either credit the customer or you debit the customer. If you have raised more value, then you debit them. If you have raised less value, you credit them. So something like that. So now there is another option where you can correct this invoice. So for example, if the invoice you feel that you should have only invoiced for 70 pieces and not 77 pieces, then how do you correct this invoice? It is not a physical paper invoice, right? You go there, you strike out something and write a new one. So it is not a paper invoice. This is a electronically generated document. So how do we correct the invoice? So for this, system has provided us with a option called invoice correction request. So invoice correction request is a sales document type. So here you can see invoice correction request is a sales document, and RK is the sales document type which we can use. So now when we, for example, we create one invoice correction request sales document. So always invoice correction request mandatorily should be created by referring to the incorrect invoice. Now let us assume that this is the incorrect invoice. Now let us copy. Now what you see here is something very strange. Now, there was only one line item in the original billing document which you wanted to correct. So you refer to that invoice and you have created a invoice correction request sales document. But you see that there are two lines that is appearing here. So the first line, you see that it is completely grayed out. You cannot change anything here. You cannot change the target quantity. You cannot change the value. Whereas the second line, you see that it is giving us some option to change the quantity. So now the first line is called the credit line and the second line is called the debit line. So the system will always allow us to make changes to the debit line. So now let us assume that the originally you are supposed to have created invoice for 70 pieces, but by mistake you created for 77 pieces. Now you want to correct this 77 to 70. Now you made it to 70. So now you enter. Now what happens? This is the value which will need to be invoiced. But whereas you have excessively you have invoiced them for 34,642, whereas the correct value should have been this, because the number of pieces is 70 instead of 77. Now this is the correct value. Now what is the difference between these two? Now it is a positive difference. So 34,642.30 minus 31, it should be around some 3,000 or 3,200, 3,000 something. So that is a positive value, which you, if it is a positive value, we need to credit to the customer. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is a positive value. You need to credit them back. So now what will happen based on this difference? So now let us save this first. Now we are saving it. We have to incompletion. Again, order reason. Complete data. So we will put some good service. Now let us save this. Now based on this difference, the invoice correction request got generated. Now invoice correction request. Now the difference here is a positive difference. So this amount of 3,000 and odd euros need to be credited to the customer. So now let us remove this block. Then we will save this. Okay. Now let us create a billing document for this. This also is order related because there is no physical movement of material here. We are just correcting a incorrect invoice. So now just create a billing document. Go to VF01. Put this. See, now the difference is positive. So the system is automatically creating a credit memo. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now you can save this. Now display. It is a credit memo that got generated. Now let us take another scenario. For example, today we created many billing documents. We can use them also. Take this billing document. Okay. Now, see, we will try to create an invoice correction request for this again. Now we'll go to A01 RK, this billing document. Okay, copy. Now, instead of 10, for example, you should have invoiced for 15 pieces. Let us assume that now we will try to imagine a different scenario. Earlier scenario, it should have been 70, whereas you invoiced for 77. More you have invoiced them, so you have credited the customer. Now let us assume that instead of 15, you have only invoiced them for 10 pieces. Now, so we will change the quantity to 15 now. If you change the quantity to 15, what will happen? The value of this is now raised. So then it will be a negative impact. So we need to debit the customer for the excess, some 8,000 or 8,000 euros. We need to debit them. Now here either you have an option, another option to delete unchanged item. So now you can delete it. Also, this is another, it is not allowing this. Okay, no problem. So now we save this. So we again go to completion, goods service. Okay. Now let us save this. Now the difference what you are seeing here is a negative difference. So we'll remove this block. We'll save this. Now we'll go here, go to VF01, 8. Okay.
So is this it should create the debit?
Should ideally create a debit memo. Let us check. Why it is
Yeah.
debit only. Okay. Why? Because we have not delivered that 15, right? We have delivered only 10, right? The delivery was made only for 10. Okay, so that could be the reason. So now let us. You understood, right? We did not deliver 15. When we physically delivered 15 and we invoiced only for 10, that would be a different scenario. For 15. So for example, if the value is not 1599, let us say if it is more, so let us say it is 1800, then now what happens, we can only change the value. So let us see that it is more. I'm not sure. So let us remove this block. Again it is creating a credit memo. Let me check this, guys.
So
Okay.
is this something like if we need to create the document for the 10 quantity, I mean order will be created for the 15 and the delivery will be created for the 10. Then I think in that case,
No, you
because
have
we are creating delivery document as well for the 15 quantity, fully delivered.
yeah, but
If we maintain it for 10, then
no, what I am trying to understand is, see, you are trying to correct the invoice, right?
okay,
You are not trying to do anything else. You are trying to correct the invoice. So original invoice, what we have is for 15. Now either you correct the quantity or you correct the value. There are two options. Okay, now in this case, the order was received for 15, and if you deliver only 10, and obviously you will invoice only for 10. If you have not delivered 15, you cannot change it to 15 in the invoice, right?
okay,
Physically you should have delivered 15, right? Then only you can do something in the invoice. When you have not delivered 15, you have delivered only 10, how can you change the invoice correction request from 10 to 15? That is not
yeah,
possible.
yes, correct,
So
correct.
either this will be like a value change. Now let us see. Now what we can do is, let us delete that order. No problem. Let me check this scenario offline, and maybe I will get back to you. Okay. So you are clear about the credit scenarios, right? Based for this invoice correction.
Yes, sir.
How about others?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Only the debit scenario we will try to check that. Okay, because I'm not sure why it is not allowing us to create a debit. It is always creating a credit memo. So maybe I am not sure whether it is because of any specific settings in the voice correction request. See, if you see here, the order related billing type that is assigned to this is G2. Okay. So that's the reason it is always creating credit memo. Did you get my point?
No, sir. How?
This is the configuration of the invoice correction request document type. Yesterday I told you about how do we configure a sales document type, you remember?
Yes, sir.
So we saw how a standard order OR is configured.
Okay.
So likewise, there is a standard configuration for RK document, which is invoice correction request. Okay. Here we have the billing types that would get generated from this standard RK. So here you see order related billing type is assigned as G2, which is credit memo. So whenever you create a sales document of invoice correction request, the billing document will always get created for credit memo G2 type only.
Okay. Now, if we change it to the go on.
No, you're not supposed to change this. Now, for example, maybe it will be based on the accounting document. I think you can see the difference. So let us see. We created one credit memo, right? So let us compare that and see. Now we created this. Initially, we created this billing document. So here, instead of 77, we corrected the quantity to 70, and how the accounting document looked like there. It was having a negative impact. Now similarly, we will try to check for another invoice correction request which we created positive value with a negative value. Here it was excess, so it was negative. So let us check how the accounting document was created. So guys, you are able to see the difference?
Yes, sir.
What difference you were able to see, Vivek?
The amount is changed.
See, there are two scenarios. Please pay attention. See, the first scenario I have created for this invoice correction request document the original billing document. Okay, the original billing document is having 77 pieces. Okay, and I changed the invoice correction request. I changed it to 70 pieces. Okay, so it means that I have reduced the quantity. So this billing document what got generated, it was a credit memo. In that accounting document, if you go and see, it is having a negative figure here. This is a negative figure here. You see that this is the difference. Okay.
Yes.
Whereas for the second scenario, what we had, original billing document was there for 10 pieces, and we created invoice correction request for 15 pieces, which means the difference would become negative now. So in the invoice that we generated, in the accounting document, you see there is a positive impact. Do you see this?
Yes, sir.
That is the difference. So are you clear?
But it seems still credit memo request is generated over here for
Yeah,
the positive
memo
value.
request is only generated, but it is created with a positive value. Why? Because it is generating only credit memo request is because of this configuration. The order related billing type is configured here as G2. So it will always create credit memo request only against this sales document. But only in the accounting you can see the difference.
And if we need to create the debit memo, then
This has to be changed here to L2.
the system will not automatically take it during the invoice verification.
See, now I can change it to L2. Okay, let us change it to L2. And if I select save this, it will ask for this transport. Now let us now try to get the noise correction request using this. Now what would happen? Okay, so now even if I reduce it to 8 pieces, okay, in this case it is ideally it is supposed to create a credit memo as per our understanding, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now I am saving this. Okay, now let us create a invoice. Okay, sales document type RK cannot be involved with billing document L2. You got this message, right? It will not allow us. So based on the accounting document only, you can see the difference, whether it will be a credit or a debit to the customer, not based on the document. Okay. Why this silence?
Sir, if we keep that field blank, then does system will automatically capture this as per the positive or negative figure? Is this possible?
Let us check. That option also we will check.
Or else with the help of F4 option, we may. How many options will be available? Like,
All will be available. Okay. Because this is a match code, right? So everything will be available. So we'll maintain it blank as per your thing. Now if we create weapon. I will make it page. Order reason. Remove this. Billing type could not be determined. Did you see this?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So ideally there has to be a billing type. Only based on the accounting document, you will see whether it is a positive or a negative impact. Okay.
Okay.
So you can try these scenarios. Maybe see what you can do is you create a sales order for some 10 quantity. You create a delivery. You create an invoice. Now refer that invoice and you create a invoice correction request. So in that you try to change the quantity or try to change the value. Now if it is a lesser quantity that you wanted to invoice them, then already you have invoiced them for 10 pieces. Now you are trying to reduce the quantity to 8 means you need to credit the customer back. So in that case, the accounting document generated will have a negative sign because that money you are paying to them. Okay. Now on the other hand, you are invoiced originally you invoiced for 10 and ideally you should have invoiced for 12 pieces. So in that case, there will you create a invoice correction request. In that you change the value to 12 and you save. In that case, you are supposed to debit the customer for that excess 2 pieces. So in that case, the accounting document that gets generated against the credit memo will have a positive value, because you are supposed to receive that money from the customer. So in that way only you can see the difference. But generally it will always be a credit memo that gets created.
Okay, sir.
Kuldeep,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Correct.
you got my point, right? What you need
Yes,
to
sir.
do, you just go and try these 2 different scenarios and check the accounting document for the difference.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then you will understand. Okay, because you can only assign one option to the billing document type in the order configuration. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as part of the complaint processing, we have something called the returns management. So all the while we were seeing only the complaints that were being handled by just mere creation of the documents. So physically nothing was being returned. So there could be scenarios where the customer might insist to return the material back to you. So for example, you purchased a mobile phone and through Amazon you purchased. So just imagine this scenario, like you purchased a mobile phone, you found that there is a very small defect, like for example, if there is a small scratch on the back side, or maybe the cover was broken, the mobile phone's cover was broken, or something very minor defect, which does not impact the functioning of the mobile phone. So what you will say, boss, see, I was supposed to get a clean product, but there was a small scratch on the back of the panel. So you please give me some discount. So he will give you some discount, some 100 rupees or 500 rupees, depending on the value. That is the example of this debit or a credit note purpose. But on the other hand, if the mobile phone is not at all switching on, or if the mobile phone is completely damaged in transit, you will not be able to use that. So in that case, what will you do? You will return the mobile phone back to Amazon, right? This is what you will follow, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the
Yes, sir.
second case of returning the product back is called the return process. So the return process ideally starts with the creation of a return sales order. So you create a return sales order, and refer to that you create a return delivery, and referring to that return delivery we create a credit memo. So this is the process of return delivery. But here again, once the return delivery gets created, here there will not be a goods issue process, but instead you are receiving the material back into your premises. You are the supplier. Assume that you are the supplier. So you have supplied, you have created, for example, in this flow. For example, let us consider this flow. 5, 4 to 8 order. So now let us assume that you have created the order, you have delivered this, you through this delivery, and you have created this invoice. Now this customer says that they are not happy with this quantity of 10 pieces which they received via this sales order or invoice, and they want to return the entire 10 pieces back. So now what will you do? Let us create this return order process. So now go to VA01. So give order type as RE. Here also we can create with reference to billing document which was sent with an issue. So either you put this invoice number, copy, now you see this is a return order, and can check for incompletion. You need to enter order reason. Damage in transit. So you save this. So you have saved the return order. So this is the return order. Now we need to create, in this return order, if you see, there is only a billing block. There will not be a delivery block. So now you can create a delivery or a return delivery. Ideally, you call it as a return delivery. So here you can create this return delivery. You save this. Now you created this return delivery. This return delivery, if you see, if we go to picking and see, you see it is not relevant for picking. No warehouse management transfer order required. Why it is not relevant for picking? Because you are receiving it back, so you don't need to do any goods issue, or you don't need to pick it, because this material, definitely this is not available in your warehouse. You already sent it and you are just getting it back because of the defect. So it will not be relevant for picking. The relevance for picking ideally comes from the item category. So here in this sales order, if you go, you will see the item category what got determined. So this is the return order. Here if we go here, you can see the return orders item category is REN. So just let us go and check what are the configuration for this item category. Go to SPRO. Go to sales and distribution. Sales. Line item categories. Let's check. Standard return item. Here you can see it is ticked as returns. Okay, so this is a returns item category. So all the other things remain the same. So this is 11 for pricing. This is relevance, billing relevance is B. B means it will be an order related, relevant for order related billing. So now you can go and see, this is how the item category is configured. Now you can go to the delivery document. This is the returns delivery. So here again, you don't need to wait for the material to come back to your warehouse and then you post the goods receipt. See, the post goods receipt button is here. You post the goods receipt, and then based on this delivery, you should create a credit memo for the customer. So that is not needed. You don't need to wait for the material to physically arrive and then you do the goods receipt to create the credit memo. What you can do is you can straight away, based on the return order itself, you can create a credit memo because it is an order related billing. So this return delivery, physically the movement will happen, that is not a problem. Still, you, without posting the goods receipt, the system will allow you to create the credit memo against the order. So you can go here, document is being processed. Open this, so it is So you see that there was a billing block, so we need to go and remove that billing block. So you can create the credit for returns without even posting the goods receipt. So this is the credit memo that got generated for the returns. Now you can process the delivery separately. You can go and just perform post goods receipt. So you can check here all the returns delivery, goods receipt, return delivery material document got generated. We go to the return orders document flow. You can see return order, return delivery, credit for returns. So this is how the return process will look like. This is just a physical return of the material. So for once it is returned, you are crediting the customer for the quantity that they have returned back to you. So any doubts on this return process?
No, sir.
How about others?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So let us look at the exercises for units 5 and 9. 5 collective processing. So create outbound deliveries via collective processing. So you can use VL10A transaction. Create some couple of orders. Don't create only one order and look for collective processing. Create some 5-6 orders. Then go to VL10A. Try to see if those orders are showing up. Select them. Try to do collective processing. Try to do individual processing. Then complete the shipping functions using collective processing. So you can use outbound delivery monitor VL06P. You can perform picking or the transfer order creation. VL06G. You can do the goods issue in mass or in collectively. Then you can use create billing documents using collective processing. So create some 4-5 deliveries. Do the goods issue for everything. Then try to go there and go to VF04 and try to check if the deliveries are visible there and select them and try to do a collective processing or a individual processing. So that is about this collective processing. So you can do this exercise and then you can use this complaint processing. Unit 9, create a credit memo request, create an invoice correction request, create a return. So there is one part, cancelling a billing document. So how do we cancel a billing document? So if you see, I was trying to delete a delivery. So if you created some invoice wrongly, then you can have the option of cancelling the billing document. So for example, we can go to VF03 and see this is the billing document or a credit which you created. So any billing document you can cancel, not only a standard billing, credit memo or debit memo, anything. So if you want to cancel this, just before canceling, just check how the accounting document looks like. So you can see this, it's having all these kind of values. So now we want to cancel a billing document. What you need to use transaction for cancelling a billing document is F11. So what you can do, this menu SAP Easy Access, Go to logistics, sales and distribution, billing. Go here to billing document, cancel, PF level. So this document you want to delete or you want to cancel. So just put the document you wanted to cancel, press enter. So then you see that there is a positive and a negative posting. So there will be two postings, credit for returns, cancellation credit memo. So you can go and save this. So document saved. So this is the cancellation billing document. You call this as a cancellation billing document. So cancellation billing document. So this is the cancellation credit memo. And what is this document type? It will be document type will be S2. So whenever you cancel a billing document, it will create a cancellation billing document. That will be based on the settings that you maintain. It will be of type S2. So this cancellation billing document will reverse all the postings that were made in the original billing document. So in the original billing document, whatever were the positive postings, it will be reversed in this cancellation billing. Now the delivery will be still, now it will become open for new billing document generation. So once you cancel this billing document, again the delivery will become relevant for billing. You can create a correct or the new billing document you can create. So this is about canceling a billing and creating a new billing document. So you can check that. You can create an invoice correction request, try different scenarios and check the accounting document, how the values are placed there. Then you can create a return. So returns, I told you how to create a return, how to create a return delivery, how to create a return credit memo referring to the return order. So this is all we discussed today. So any specific queries or doubts on these concepts of unit 5 and unit 9, which we discussed, and I also showed you each and everything on the screen. So if you have any queries, please do let me know. Then we can proceed with further concepts.
No, sir.
Okay. How about others?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
No,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. One more no I am expecting. Okay. Good. I assume that everyone are clear. So any specific things apart from this which you wanted to discuss?
Nothing, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So you can create these exercises. So are we good to stop for today because we have covered some concepts? So if you want, I can continue. Otherwise, we will stop for today at this place.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can stop here.